Hi friends, it's Salt. If you're new here, this channel is all about the element of salt. Salt is all about cleansing, power, and transformation through alchemy. This space is not for everyone, and it's intentionally meant to not be. So if you found this, I'm honored to be one of the few who gets to reflect how rare and special you are. And not in like a I'm special and like feeding that delusion in a very like intuitively guided collective way. So right now it's 3 a.m. where I'm at, and I'm recording this message. I didn't think I was going to be doing a message tonight, but it had to get out with the energy. I'm going to start, I think, with planetary transit themes because they're heavily tugging on me. And then at the end, there's a really specific message about two energies that are heavily catalyzing growth for you at this time. I want you all to picture me pulling a card and it being the Empress and then it falling. And you know that thing that happens where you try to pick up a card on like a hardwood floor, but it keeps like slipping out of your hands? That's exactly what happened. And it's important because the energy that's coming through from that specifically is actually a quote, which never happens. So this entire reading is very rare in itself, but the quote is from the collective, from you all, is I'm ready for more, but why am I carrying less? So you might be feeling, what I'm picking up is like you might be feeling like you're discouraged or like you're at some sort of stall where you clearly have done the work. You've done the transformational work, but there's no results to show for. And so you're getting discouraged, you're getting frustrated, whatever the accompanying feeling is. So something that keeps pulling at me is the themes of the Saturn retrograde that are upcoming. Specifically, I'm being guided to point to a specific point in a chart that it might be the theme of this reading, or it might be a point in some of your birth charts that I would highly suggest some of you look up to see if this is deep resonance for. If you have Jupiter in the 6th house, this could be a little wink from the universe, from me, from the universe, whoever. But for the majority of you that maybe don't, I'm sensing this is more about expansion through regeneration. And what that means is the 6th house symbolizes habits, daily life, and health in all ways. It can also symbolize work, but it's really mostly about the daily ways we show up for ourselves. Essentially, it's the incremental progress that kind of we make without immediate results. I'm going to go back to the quote one more time, which is I'm ready for more, but why am I settling for less? Spirit's response to this is you are meant to receive it all, but they want to make sure that you can hold it first, is the understanding I'm being presented. So the test is this. Over the next few months, I think the retrograde ends in November, you might be given little, let's call them micro tests. And they're here not to punish you, but to ensure that you can hold the gifts that you're meant to have long term. I know that might sound scary, but it's really not. Saturn is the planet of responsibility. And while you're destined and meant for all this abundance and expansion, I can heavily see a chart right now that has a lot of karmic abundance destined for them. It has a little bit of pain and karma, but it also has a huge amount of abundance as well to balance that. So Saturn says, make sure that they can hold these gifts in everyday practice. That's the quote I'm being shown. So that means that the daily structure that would support a life of abundance, I think, needs to be established first. And that's where the tests will show up. So questions like, Can you show up every day and stay grounded? Can you respond to chaos in your power? Can you handle themes of uncertainty without wavering? These will be what I'm being shown is how you will be tested in these small ways. They won't be scary. They won't be like catastrophic tests. They're just little checks from the universe, because the universe wants you to hold these gifts long term, and they only want to give these gifts when you're fully ready to receive them. Because think about it, it would be a waste to give someone a gift they couldn't hold. So everything is meant and destined in that purposeful way, in that intentional way. So this month, in the pre-shadow phase leading up to the retrograde, it's all about pause, not stall. So it's about softening control and letting unraveling happen for a bigger purpose. It's about remembering that invisible progress is still progress. The retrograde asks you to regenerate in stronger and smaller and invisible ways that basically don't show progress right away. The last part of this reading, and probably I think the most important part, because it talks about what's coming up for you, is first, there's two deep energies that are attached to you. There's one from the past that presents a lot of turmoil and imbalance, and like history and karma and growth, lots of themes tied into that are complicated and present a lot of deep feelings. The second energy is bright and light energy. It is one that might not even be here, what I'm sensing, and I'm getting air and water symbolism. So I think themes of think of fast mind and clear heart for this second energy. There isn't a ton about these energies, just like who they are, or like what they present in themes, but the focus is really on you and how you're perceiving them. So what I'm picking up is that you might feel invisible in some ways, but it's clear to me that that the healing that you're on and that has caused you to go quote unquote offline in a way supports maybe why you feel this way. And what I mean by that is, if you feel invisible, let's just use this word invisible, maybe it's not the best, but energy, the response to you feeling invisible is energy needs periods of stalling to integrate. Being invisible is like a rebooting period before you come back online. So think of it that way. Basically, if you feel this past energy is living their best life and you're like lurking in the shadows invisibly, it's because your energy is healing and it isn't affecting them yet. And what that usually looks like at first is avoidance. Like this person is able to, let's say this past person that has these heavy themes, is able to fully distract without any karmic barriers. But what happens when your energy comes back online, let's say after the Saturn retrograde period, is after your integration and healing, it's a profound shift. It disrupts the energy entirely, and this person is essentially forced to feel your new frequency. It's usually very uncomfortable and forces growth on their end as a result. So the second part is something that is becoming really clear, is this new person's energy at that time of profound shift will either be magnetized further in your established connection, or it will be the time that you're given the gift of that new energy because you've integrated the lessons and are fully ready to receive them. So I feel like some of you already intuitively know this, but keep leaving comments about your story and how this resonates. I am getting so many downloads. The reason I think you telling your story is important is because, first of all, I love reading them. I know I say that a lot, but it's really sincere. I love hearing about all of you, your journey, your path, how you're resonating. Nothing is unread. The second is it helps me continue to channel your energy directly, and I want to be able to provide that clear direction. So keep letting me know how this resonates for you. Cheers, friends.